Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning into ADSR. What's up to everyone in the chat? What's going on? Let me know who is in the chat. Let me know where you guys are tuned in from. My name is Stranjah, and I'll be your host for the next hour or so. And we got an exciting plugin to talk about today. Shouts out to all the ADSR family. Thanks again for having me on. All right. So yeah, once again, my name is Stranjah, and I typically do drum and bass music tutorials. I also have my own channel, and I'm here about once a week, and we're showcasing different plugins and sample packs. I've been trying different genres here, so if you want to hear me try different genres, then this is the show to check out, because I'm always exploring and fusing and learning different sounds and styles and trying to apply it to my own sound. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video if you want to see more of them. And yes, big up Victor Asens. Thanks for tuning in. Where are you tuned in from? So yeah, while I'll wait for everyone to join in the chat, the plugin we're talking about today is from Baby Audio. They're one of my favorite plugin companies as of late. They put out some pretty neat tools, and they have really nice interfaces. And the one we're talking about today is called Smooth Operator. And this is a mixing tool. It's actually a lifesaver if you have sounds or different frequencies in the mix that are causing issues, problem areas. So this tool can quite easily resolve those issues with a few clicks to the interface. They call it the intelligent signal balancer. So it combines three different, I guess you would call, methodologies. There's equalization, which is like an EQ, and then there's spectral compression, so that's like attenuating problem areas. Then there's something called resonance suppression, which I'm still learning about what that is. But essentially, they're combining these three techniques into one creative tool to help you resolve issues in the mix. Specifically, we're talking about frequency issues in your mix or on a particular sound. So yeah, they say it's a tool to perfect your tonal balance and add a touch of hi-fi, which makes sense. Today, this plugin is on sale for $39, and you're saving $30. So if you're interested, check it out on the ADSR online shop. Also, let me know how the volume is on my microphone as we get into Ableton, and let me know how the music is overall as well over the mic. Just want to make sure you guys hear everything clearly. Every mix is different, so we have to adjust it. But yeah, so this is Smooth Operator. They got some great presets that come with this tool. So people that have worked with some big names here, David Nakaji, who's worked with Post Malone, Rob Kleiner, who's worked with David Guetta. So they got some really star mix engineers who's created some presets for this plugin. And it's a quite easy tool to use. So the algorithm uses what's called fast Fourier transform, or FFT. Essentially what it does is it breaks your signal into what we call partials. So think of all the fundamental components that make up a piece of sound. It breaks it all up into its individual parts, and then it finds problem areas in those individual parts and tries to resolve the balance of it. So that's basically what happens underneath the hood. But yeah, the whole point of this plugin is that they made it really easy to use, because they want to really push the fact that this is a creative tool to help you, as opposed to creating something that's complicated and then you're spending like hours trying to figure out what it's trying to do. You can simply use it and improve the mix right away. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you've heard of this plugin, if you're familiar with it. It's a nice little tool, and we're going to show you how I'm going to use it in a couple of different applications. So we're going to start, I'm going to show you start with the basics and talk about what FFT is in the first place, and then how this could resolve certain issues. And then we're going to apply it to different tracks and sounds so we can kind of see this in action. From what I hear, you can use it on the master as well, but in most of the examples that I've checked, they use it more in the mix, meaning on like a bus. Maybe you have a bus of instrumental sounds like guitars and pianos, then you can use it on that. Or you could use it on an individual track, like the piano itself might have an issue. The number one example that people use this with are vocals, because vocal recordings tend to come with all sorts of nuances and artifacts and perhaps frequencies that are unintentional, that may be getting away in the mix. Like you might have this really peaky frequency, like in the 3000 kilohertz area, and it's kind of like piercing in the ears, and you don't know how to get rid of that. So that this tool helps balance that out. But in some videos, they do talk about how this could be applied in the master as well. If we have time, we can look into that as well. Shouts out to Andrea Fritella. Thanks for tuning in. Shouts out all to the Luxembourg crew. LA Winter, what's up? Okay, so yeah, let's pop into Ableton and we'll get right into this plugin. All right. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, what is FFT, which is essentially the backbone of how this tool works. So I'm going to give you a beginner's, I guess, run through of FFT. So if anyone has Serum and you have a basic sine wave, Drunk Bishop, thanks for tuning in. If you click on the pencil, then you open up this mode, and they call this the FFT mode, because what you're doing is you're building sound from basic building blocks. We call it partials. Sometimes it's referred to as basic harmonics. Essentially, in Serum, these basic harmonics are composed of sine waves at different frequencies. Now, I'm not saying that Smooth Operator breaks it down into sine waves. It might be into other types of partials, such as spectral waves or something. I don't know the science of it exactly, but what I do know is it breaks it down into its individual pieces. And what I'm trying to explain to you here is one concept of FFT is to break down a sound into its individual sine waves, right? So the way this works in Serum is that each one of these bands here represents a sine wave at a different frequency, right? And frequency is multiplied by this number here. So right now, pretty much only I can just remove all these guys here, right? So right now, only the first, or the root harmonic, is being played, right? So you hear that sine wave. Now, if you increase the volume of the next harmonic, we call it the second harmonic, then it sounds like this. So this one is 2 times the frequency of this one. That's how I think that's how the math works. It's 2 times the root, right? Right. So if you take that one out, you hear one that's 2 octaves up, right? Or 1 octave higher. But the math is 2 times your root frequency. So you bring this guy back. So this is 1 octave down. So essentially you're adding a note and then another note that's 1 octave higher by increasing. And this increases the volume of it, right? Now it's in percentage, it's relative. So if you bring it up like this is now 85%, it's got to bring this one down, right? So if you want them both to be 50, you just have to reset it. The next one up is bin 3, which would be multiplying the root frequency by 3, right? And as you get higher, it gets more complicated, right? Right. Let's go all the way up here to 16. 16 would be 4 octaves up, because 2 is 1 octave up, and then 4 is 2 octaves up, because 4 is twice as high as 2, right? That's how it works. This would be, so they've grayed out the octaves here, so you can know exactly which ones are octaves up, so you know which frequencies are in unison. Okay. Okay, so now I've increased this frequency up intentionally. And actually, this is a cool way to make bass lines. If you're interested in making like drum and bass lines, and you're wondering how do they get those squeaky frequencies, this is a way to do it, right? I wonder what will happen if we distort this. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna do some fun stuff here. Maybe add some filtering. So now I'm adding a low pass filter and just adding a sweep to the sound. That sounds cool. Alright, so we got a pretty cool bass sound here. Unintentional, but I just felt like exploring a little tangent here while we do this. I'm going to bring in Smooth Operator. And we'll talk about how this plugin works. So, well, here we go. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger for you guys. That's better. All right, cool. Okay, so it works very simply. First and foremost, you have 3 different colors. Nice little pastel colors. Big fan of pastel. We're now in spring season now, so it seems to go with the color palette. Let me know in the comments if you're into pastel colors. Which one is your favorite? I think I'll go with the pastel green here. Okay, so the basis of this plugin is really this center, they call it a node, the center node. This determines how much of an impact this effect has, right? Now, what it's kind of doing is attenuating the problem frequencies, but they stress that it's not really compression. It's I don't know what you call it in the background, but let's say they do some magic in the background with the problem frequencies. They in the instructions they say that they're going into the partials and resolving each partial individually. So it's a little more than simply compression is what they explain in the instructions. But this node determines how much is it resolving, I guess, for lack of better terms, right? And you see this meter at the top. That'll show how much is, well, for lack of better terms, I'm just going to use the word attenuated. By the way, I only recently learned that attenuated does not mean boosted. It means the opposite of boosted. I've always thought that attenuated means boosting, and I made an entire video about mixing and mastering, and I used the word attenuating in the complete opposite meaning. And sorry if anyone saw that and was confused, Just shows you I'm also learning as well. But yeah, this graph here shows what frequencies are being. I'm just gonna use the word attenuated here, although they say it's not really compression. But right, so the more this you bring this down, right, the more it's doing its work, right? And you notice the sound. Now, it's recommended that you apply this plugin with small strokes, right? You don't need a huge amount to make something sound better. It's more about subtleties here, but I'm just going more extreme so you can see what it's actually doing. Thanks, Dub Raja. Glad that you love the content. Thank you. So notice as I bring this down, it's changing the, I guess you can call it the harmonic content. Yeah, I like that term, harmonic content, across the sound, right? Almost making it sound more balanced. Up here, it sounded like there was too much bass, right? Because now it's not doing anything. But as you increase this, it creates a little more balance so that those higher harmonics come out a little more over the bass. Now then, once you set this, I guess you can call it the threshold. Yeah, it's the threshold. You can then choose these two nodes can pinpoint specific areas that you want this to work on, right? So let's say maybe that high tone, that wah sound is too high, too squeaky or too peaky. You can use this node to identify it, right, and isolate it, and then work on that frequency alone, right? So this button here is help. So enable the solo mode on the bottom left. And then so notice once I hover over the node, it solos that band. So this is really helpful. So bring it down if you want it to work on this frequency more. And then you can use the mouse wheel to control the Q or resonance, which is how narrow this is. So notice the graph up here. It's really, since my threshold is up here, and then this thing is down here, it catches only those high peaky frequencies. Oh yeah, I love pastels. I love how the calming effect for sure. Anything to get you in the vibe. Also have like a really cool diffuser in the background. I'm diffusing essential oils. My favorite is, I have a couple favorites. I like citrus. Also, lavender is a nice scent and seems to go well with this color theme today. So it's all about setting the vibe. So you can click on this, the word baby audio. This will just bypass it so you can hear it before and after. You have to really zone in with your ears and listen carefully, but that kind of ooh kind of harmonic is kind of balanced out here, so it's less as prominent because of this. This is off. See how it shaped it a little? That's kind of nice. So on the other end, you have another note for the other half of the frequency range. So you might want to maybe control the lower harmonics here. Right. There's also a low shelf and high shelf, so this can. So if you don't want it to, if it's affecting the high frequencies, then you can just bring this up so it doesn't affect the high frequencies. Right? Because maybe your threshold is all the way down here. And you may either want to apply this more predominantly on the high frequencies, so you can bring that shelf down, or you can bring it up so it doesn't apply it. Right. Now this is extreme. Let me turn the solo off. You see how it kind of dampens those high frequencies? This focus slider here, you can kind of think of this as the precision parameter. So as you bring this down, the focus of those nodes decreases. But as you increase it, there's a little more precision in how it controls that frequency range. I seem to think that what it's doing is it's breaking, as you increase the focus, it breaks down into further partials to identify those problem areas. That's how I would understand what's happening there. I could be wrong, but so don't quote me on it. But just by the parameter name, that's what I would think it is doing. Oh yeah. Who wants some jump up? I'm liking how that sounds. So let's go back before. So that was before. Let me just do it like this. So it sounds a little more balanced, right? So other than that, the other parameters are self-explanatory. You have an output level, which is your gain. This shows you your peak level here. You can choose RMS or peak. You can resize this if you like. Again, there's a bunch of different presets you could try. We can try this out as we try it on different applications. All right. So that's pretty much the gist of this tool. Again, they made it really easy to use, so you can apply it right away to improve your mix or resolve certain issues in your mix. So let me know if you have any questions or comments before I move to the next track or next application of this tool. Cool. All right, so let's try this on a couple different tracks and ideas to see this in action. I'm going to save this track. I'm going to start with something simple first, and then we're going to go into building a mix. So I have a track here. Let's try this one here. Shouts out to Dub Raha, Eric on music. Thank you for tuning in. And yes, I am here every Thursday around this time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that's 10 a.m. in the Pacific, and either 4 or 5, probably 5 or 6 p.m. out in Europe. So I'm here every week. We do this show. Oh, just waiting for the project to load up. Okay, here it is. So I have this drum and bass track here, something I'm working on. It's a little preview of something that will come out. Here we go. All right, so this bass line has a really peaky frequency. So this might be a tool where I would use it to fix the sound in the mix. Right, so I did this earlier, so I'm just gonna reset it. And you can tell by looking at the spectral analyzer where the frequent problem areas are, right? You can see there's a peak around here and there, so you can isolate it and see which one of these peaks is it, right? It might be this one. Or it could be the next one up, so move it here. Let's go up one more. So it sounds like a combination, I would call it this harmonic and this one. So what we can do is maybe put it in the middle, increase the resonance or the Q so it's a wider and catches that area. And then just increase the amount. Now again, this is extreme what I'm doing. You should use that a little more gently. What we can do is bring down the threshold. And now we can bring this back up. Okay. Dabraha, it functions like a combination of an EQ, compressor, and also resonance suppression, but it's its own kind of beast. So the end result is something like that, but what it does is it breaks down your audio into fundamental, they call it partials. So it's individual frequency components and looks at which component is causing the issue and tries to kind of resolve it or control it, right? So I'm trying to control that area here, right? I think it's more closer to here. All right, so let's hear this in the mix. Let's turn it off. You see how that high pitchy thing is kind of a little more dampened? And I just want to make it less extreme. Alright, so that's how I'd use it for a sound like this, for one individual sound. Let's try another application. I'm going to try it on a vocal here. So here's another track I'm working on. Just let it load up. Dabraha, thanks for subscribing to our channels. All right. Okay, here's my track here. Now this is a vocal track. It's a UK garage or future garage track that I'm working on, featuring the vocals of my talented friend Elijah. I'll just play a bit of it here.
Bless me, me not roll with no pagan. Them a bad mind, them a move like Satan. Always know my roots, coulda never be forsaken. Me not sell out my soul just to make it a little break. And them want to hold me down, but me awake. And knowledge is bless me. boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no.
Now I'm gonna take baby audio, smooth audio, and try to make the vocal sound a little more balanced here. Now, I found it was easier to do it with monitors, so you're gonna have to bear with me here because now I'm on headphones, so it's a bit different with headphones. I'm gonna reset this.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed.
So this one, I might want to control some of the lower mids. So first, let's isolate the lower mids.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead.
We call it mud. So those frequencies tend to muddy up the vocals. Okay. And let's try.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna
The mids are okay in this mix, but let's just see what we can do if we bring down the mids. And use the scroll wheel to control the Q.
keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed. But I then just pass me with pen. Go away off right off the informer.
See how it opens up the mix a little more, makes the vocal sound a little more airy, right? And
if a boy
this one, it seems like you're a little more in the box.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul.
Let me just make it a little more extreme so maybe you can hear the difference.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed. But I then just pass me with pen.
Okay, so hopefully now you can hear the difference. Now it's meant to be a little more subtle.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed.
Oh, you can hear a big difference now. When you hear over the mix, the vocals sit over the beat a little more better. Wait, let's do that again.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed. But I then just pass me with pen. Go away off right off the informer them. On a straight up gangster, you know when I.
Now, since it's attenuating those areas, I've increased the output a little more so that the overall loudness is the same.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed.
Oh yeah, it brings the vocal to life here.
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter friend. Can't sell out to no soul, you all of them a go bed. But I then just pass me with pen. Go away off.
Yeah, so Soothe tends to be what people compare this to. The difference with Smooth Operator is they've really packaged this tool into an easy to use design, whereas Soothe has a lot more parameters, so there's a lot more you can do, a lot more control, whereas this, it kind of is different in that they want you to be able to apply it right away and get some cool results right away, right?
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman.
Let's try some of the presets. Let's look for one that's meant for vocals. So we got, let's see, vocal smooth, perhaps vocal $, maybe. Let's see what else we have here. So this is a cool application. So this one's vocal DS. So you can use this to kind of control the S's, right?
If a boy not like we, I'm gonna suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter Fred. Can't sell out to no soul.
Yeah, it smooths out the S's. That's nice. What else? Let's try the vocal bus.
If a boy not like we him go suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter Fred. Can't sell out to.
Yeah, a lot more control in the vocals there. A little more air. Let's see what else. Opens up in the mix. My vocal tighter. Let's see what that works.
If a boy.
Now, when you use these presets, every vocal recording has different gain levels. So you're going to have to adjust this node so it catches the vocal.
If a boy not like we him go suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter Fred. Can't sell out to no soul. You all of them a go bed. But now he then and just pass me with pen. Go away off a writer.
They call it, yeah, I guess you can call it AI. AI tends to be a buzzword that we throw around, but there is a algorithm or intelligent design behind it to do the work for you, I guess you can say. So I guess you can say that that's AI. Let's try harsh vocal.
If a boy not like we him go suck him woman dead.
Oh, this one's nice.
If a boy not like we him go suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter Fred. Can't sell out to no.
So this is an interesting application because they leave the lows up here, so the bottoms are untouched.
If a boy not like we him go suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter Fred. Can't sell out to no soul. You all of them a go bed. But now he then.
Vocal sounds more present in this one. We'll try one more vocal $sign.
If a boy not like we him go suck him woman dead. Now keep no hypocrite and backbiter Fred. Can't sell out to no soul. You all of them a go bed. But now he then and just pass me with pen.
Yeah, this one adds a little more air. Once again, it's all about subtleties here. You have to really listen. I'm pushing some of them. I'm pushing it to the extreme so you can hear it, but it's more about small movements here to add enhancements to your mix. I love the word sibilance too. All right, so let's try this in a completely new mix. So I had this track here. So let me wait for this to open up. All right. So this one, I'm using a pack. Which pack was I using? It was from one of the reggaeton packs. Yes, I believe it. Yeah, I'm using the Image Sounds Reggaeton Styles Volume 1 from ADSR. You can find that on their online shop as well. But simply I pulled one of the construction kits for a song, which has all the individual pieces. Now, I haven't mixed this yet. We're going to mix this live, and then we're going to resolve problem areas in the mix. Okay, so let me just fix the screen here. There we go. Okay, so once again, I have this mix here. Whoa. Just bring the master down. It is a bit loud. Okay, so let's mix this track together live. So we're going to start with the drums. So I've colored the drums pastel purple. And all the other instruments are a little bit of greens here. So that's the kick. Usually the kick is my fundamental for my mix. So I leave it as is and then mix everything else around the kick. That's just how I do it. I'm not saying it's the right way or wrong way. There's no one way to do it. That's just my way. So I'm going to mute all the other parts. And then we'll mix the snare in. That's fine. Bring the hi-hats. So I'm finding the hi-hats a bit loud, so I'm going to bring it down. Mixing 101, it's all about the levels. Getting that right is part one. All right, next sound. Oh, those shakers are very loud. So what I like to do is bring it all the way down and slowly bring it up until it's just enough. Around there is good. So -24. Look at the difference. It has to be that quiet. Okay, next is the tambourines. Okay, so tambourines sound really loud again. Bring it all the way down. Yeah, around there sounds right. Around -24. We got some wood percussion. -20, some congas. -18. Let's bring in these toms. All right. We can then group the drum section together. You can call it drums. If you like, you can add some parallel compression here. And funny enough, Baby Audio also has a parallel compression plugin. They have two. One's called I Heart New York, and the other is called Parallel Aggressor, which is their newer one. So I'm going to pull Parallel Aggressor in. You can also find this on the ADSR online shop. And we can use this to add a little more punch to the drum. So let's just try one of the presets here and see how this does. Again, this one is all about subtleties. This button allows for extra smack so it hits harder. So this is off, and it's back on. Okay. This adds a little more definition on the drums. Okay, let's bring in the guitar. I think around there works. Organs. Oh yes, every week we are giving away the plugin to one lucky person. So let us know if you're interested in running the draw, and then we'll let you know how to win Smooth Operator this week. Okay, let's bring the guitar sound. Okay. Right. So far, so good. 3 more sounds to go. Okay, So this is a sound that's causing a problem for me. I'm finding that high pitch sound really peaky. So we're gonna use baby audio for this. Once we fix everything, once we resolve the other two instruments. See, although I brought it down to negative 16.5, it's still a bit peaky. So we need to control that. Okay, but we'll come back to it. Let's check out the other sound. I'll mute it for now. So this is a filtered guitar. So this also has some resonant frequencies that are causing issues. It's kind of peaky. Okay, and finally the third layer here is an ARP sound. So all three of these has these resonant frequencies that are kind of peaky, that kind of gets in the way of the mix. So we're going to be using this to really control it. So we're going to focus on this sound first. It's called the high strum. Okay. So let's bring in smooth operator. And let's find out what frequency. So again, you can tell by the graph here, right? Turn on the solo mode. So it's that frequency there. Bring the threshold down a little so we can catch it. Make it maybe wider because there's some other frequency ranges that are. It depends on the note, right? As it changes that, as the melody changes in note, that harmonic frequency changes too. So you may have to adjust the cue to catch it as it changes notes, right? Let's go for pastel green. You notice how it's less peaky now. I'll turn it back off. So here's off. I just turn it off and on. Just notice this. I'm not going to stop it because then it's hard to tell. But notice this button. I guess I'll just open it so you can see it. So you can see when it's bypassed. Maybe a little less because then it's starting to take some weight from the sound. That's better. All right, sounding better. Let's go for this filtered guitar. Pull it in. Now you don't need to use these notes. You can just bring the threshold down and let smooth operator figure it out, right? To create that balance. Because it can detect what's happening there. But you may not want these low frequencies to be affected. Then you may want to just either bring a low shelf like this, or you can do it like that. So it doesn't affect the frequencies on the left. Din Productions. I'll answer your question momentarily. Okay. So let's control those peaky frequencies a little more. Okay, one more. Let's do it to the ARP. The ARP's a bit loud now. Okay. This is probably those frequencies there. You hear those like peaky, squeaky sounds? It's a little more controlled with this on. Because you have all these sounds that are kind of occupying this frequency range. So if they all are like peaking around there, then it gets a bit crazy. Especially if you have a main lead such as a vocal, and you want the vocal to occupy that space. So this could create that space for it. So to answer our questions, Din Productions, it behaves differently from a dynamic EQ. Like what it does is smooth operator. It breaks down the signal into partials. So it's fundamental components that make up that sound, right? And it looks at each one of those partials to see which one is causing the issue. And then it balances it out. Essentially, that's what it does. The end result could be similar, but the engine works differently. Some could say this would be a benefit of this because perhaps you could say it's non-destructive. So what I'll do is I'm going to have two versions here so we can compare it a little more easily. So this one here, I'll turn on, so it turns off here. Thank goodness for automation. So then we can, so this section will be baby audio off and this section will be on. Let me increase the overall master. Oh, we can try to the master as well after. Again, really subtle, but notice in this area, the frequencies are a little more peaky. It kind of hurts the ear a little. You get ear fatigued if you were to listen to this section for hours, where this, you can listen without getting ear fatigue. I know that the difference is subtle. That's the thing with the mixing. It's all about subtleties, right? Because as you apply small movements on each track, the end result is an overall better sound, right? So it's always about subtleties when you're doing mixes and enhancements like these. Otherwise, if you go extreme on every track, then you're gonna have a jumble of a mess in terms of a mix. Diana, I'm glad you noticed the difference. Big up. So yeah, let's pull this right into the master. See what happens. I've never tried this before, so let's see what happens. We're all curious. Let me make this bigger for you guys. All right. So I can see as I bring the center note down, it tries to balance out kind of the right half of the frequency spectrum almost gets more present. Again, you're not supposed to go that extreme, but just so we can hear the difference. So notice now it sounds muffled without any. Just so little. Yeah, it opens up the mix. Again, we can focus on a problem area. No, I wouldn't go this extreme. Glad you guys love mixing. It's a love or hate relationship. Some people hate it. Some people love it. It's always easy to love when it's an easy mix to work on. Sometimes you'll have a mix that there's just one sound and you can't get it right, and you just hate mixing. That's perhaps where when a tool like this will be handy when you have those mixes you hate. Perhaps this could help fix it, right? I could totally see that too, using this on nature recordings. That's really creative. Mr. Blades, yes, always trying something different here, but glad you like it. I'm just, this is from a reggaeton sample pack. It's just the stems and we're just playing with the mix here. Yeah, mixing is kind of like cooking. You have to be careful about how much you add into your recipe. It's all about proportions. I guess you could say maybe it's closer to baking then. So yeah, that's pretty much the plugin. We're approaching the end of the show, so we're just going to open up for any Q&A. If you guys have any questions or feedback or comments, leave it in the comments, and then I'll get to them momentarily. That's precisely it, Diana. It's all about small movements that add up to a greater whole. That's what I learned recently when I was studying mastering. It's a combination of all these subtle, small changes, but the end result is much better, right? Did someone win the prize yet, or have we called it out? Dancing emoji to if you want to win. Oh, okay, someone's won. My bad. Take that back. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Congratulations, Diana, for winning the Smooth Operator. Hope it helps you in the mix, Diana. And yes, we are giving prizes every week on the show, which is another reason why you should tune in, not to mention our lovely hosts. Wink, wink. And we got some other great hosts on this show as well. We have Tatro's show, which happens every week as well. Also, Brent March. I was watching one of his shows this week. Really great presenter, and I was loving what he was doing with the modular design. So if you missed those shows, you can catch them. We have archives. So Brent March did one on sound design with some modular synthesis recently. Tatro did a track with drums and vocals, and they also have shows every week, so check them out. It's and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so you can stay notified on future videos from the ADSR channel. But yes, and ADSR does have a Discord server. So if you're into that, if you want to join the community, you can check it out. We just posted the link up there for you guys. So if you want to join and chat with fellow viewers and people in the community, follow us on the Discord server. It looks like we have a producer challenge that started on Wednesday, so lots of cool things happening in the ADSR community. So make sure you follow us on your favorite social media so you can stay informed. And yes, Diana, get in touch with store@adsrsounds.com and let them know that you won the prize on Stranjah's stream. Yeah, so this was Baby Audio, and congrats once again to Diana for winning it. And if you're interested in picking it up, it is on sale on adsrsounds.com, our online shop, for $39, and you save $30 by buying it today. Really cool tool to help you improve the mix. If you're having trouble with certain frequencies areas, this quickly resolves the issue, does some magic behind the scenes, so you don't have to spend hours trying to figure out what's causing the issue. Just apply this, bring the threshold down, and catch those problem areas. So neat tool that Baby Audio has provided. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this demo of Smooth Operator. Once again, my name is Stranjah, and you can follow me on my channel as well on YouTube. I do weekly videos on drum and bass music production and sound design and general advice and tips as a music creative. And I'm here once a week on ADSR. So make sure you follow both of our channels, like the video so you can stay updated. Yeah. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks again to all the ADSR family for having me on. Great week, and hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay creative, stay safe, stay awesome, and then we'll see you next week. Peace.